Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you can all hear me and see me clearly. Today is a very, very special day. We're going to be having an opportunity to learn from our judge, Mike Vandeventor, all the way from South Africa. A very, very well experienced man with great wisdom, over 30 years of experience with New Life International. So it's going to be a great opportunity for us to be able to learn and experience and also get that wisdom as we work on our journey, as we are headed into the right direction of building great businesses that can be able, businesses that can be able to help us to live a life of our dreams. I do pray that all of us are very attentive so that we can be able to get tap into the wisdom. But just before that, we are in our month end. And I like to congratulate to all those that have already been able to reach their goals and targets for the month of May. And to those who have not yet been able to hit their goals and targets, I still do believe that a miracle can happen, especially if you've been working and sowing seeds. A miracle can happen. We can be able to still hit our goals and targets. To those who wanted to become managers, we can still become managers. Those who want to become senior managers, there is still hope we can still do it. We still have the whole of tomorrow. To those who wanted to become executive managers, those who wanted to become directors, it is still possible. Do not give up. Do not give up. We can do this. We can get this thing going. We can get it happening. So I want to congratulate to those who have already achieved their goals and to those who are still on the journey. Please don't give up. Let's still give it our best. Yes. So at this very moment, I want to invite our very special guest speaker, our judge, all the way from Cape Town, South Africa. Mike, our team loves you so much. Today we also joined by our special team Unstoppable Diamonds from our sister team from Nairobi, Kenya. You're also welcome to this call. And I see we also have our friends and team members from Tanzania, Team Evelyn Mrema, Team Land Kings Tanzania. Congratulations and welcome to this call. So allow me to hand over to our judge, our upline presence team member, Mike. Please, Mike, you can take it on from here.
Good, thank you. Good evening to all of you. It is such a pleasure to meet with you, even though it's not in person. You know, in person is always better. I was so privileged to be there in March and see many of you in person, but this is better than not meeting. So I'm very happy for this opportunity. And from my side, those who are on the call as new distributors, you've just joined the business, a very, very special word of welcome to you. You know, we joined in 1983 in May. So if you're quick with maths, you will work out that we've been in the business exactly 40 years now. And I was so pleasantly surprised. Bill Binns, one of the two people who came from Australia to establish the company in South Africa in 1971. The other one, Graham Caldwell, has already passed on. I had a personal message from Bill just to say congratulations. And, you know, he needn't do that, but it shows you this is a company with heart. So I'm so privileged to be in this opportunity. You see, I was in church ministry, and that's what I wanted to do all my life. I never thought I'd do anything else. The only hassle is that as our family started growing, we eventually had 4 children. My salary couldn't keep up with the cost of, you know, maintaining the family. And that's not because we were wasting money and, you know, living over the edge. we were living very frugally, yet my income just wasn't enough. And I was starting to get worried. I prayed and I hoped for something to happen. I didn't know what. The last thing I expected was something like New Life to come our way. I didn't even know this kind of business existed. Although the company had then already been in South Africa since 1971, I'd never heard of the company. I'd never heard of this kind of business. I never thought I'd be in business or want to be in business. Anyway, we got started simply because we needed some extra money. And I thought if we could have a small amount, I can't quickly translate it to shillings now, if we could have just a little bit extra, that would already have helped. But then what happened? We joined in May, and in June of that year, there was a big convention in Durban. And that's about almost 1,000 kilometers from where we lived. And my sponsor did two good things for me. They sponsored me into the business. And the second thing is they talked me into going to this convention. I said, I can't go. I haven't got money. We had to stay in a hotel for 2 nights. But then at that stage, the bank manager was still quite lenient. So I borrowed more money and I went to this convention. And I firmly believe that what I experienced there is the reason why I'm here this evening, and many, 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 many people are in the business. Because before that, I had a very limited view of the business. I had very limited expectations. Those days, we were more into the cleaning products, and I thought it was for my wife to sell Super 10 and LDC and G1 and so on. I never thought it could be anything big. But you know, at this convention, there were about 5,000 people. And in 1983, we were still very deep in apartheid. Yet here was a group of all races together. I don't know how the company managed that, but even since when they came to South Africa, there were no racial restrictions within New Life. And I sensed in this big group of mixed people of all races, I sensed, I almost want to say a love, a warmth that really astonished me. I couldn't believe that. I didn't associate that kind of spirit with the business. And the other thing I saw was people from the Eastern Cape, where we come from originally, although we've been living in Cape Town for almost 30 years. That's a very poor part of our country. One of the poorest parts of the country. And even today, due to our government, it's getting poorer and poorer. But anyway, I saw people from the rural areas in that very poor area earning the kind of income that no Mzungu I knew was earning that kind of money. And that opened my eyes to realizing that this is a far bigger opportunity than I thought, that it could actually be a career opportunity. And I loved what I saw, the integrity of the company, the way they were doing things. But still, I wasn't going to, be too serious about the business, because I was in ministry and I was working very, very hard. In fact, I was in the army as a chaplain. But yet, even when I started in ministry, about 10 years before that, I always carried with me the dream of being financially independent. Because the church in which I started, it was quite a big church. We had 3 ministers, each had his part of the congregation. And in your part, you had to do everything, from looking after the babies to the very old people and everything in between. And I didn't really feel comfortable with that. I always wished that I could have enough money so that I could go to the church and say, listen, you don't have to pay me. I'll do this and this and this. But if you want me to do the other things, find somebody else and pay him. So that dream of being almost my own boss, if I may call that, was with me for many, many years. And then finally, I realized that Neolife could give me that. And I also, over the years of attending conventions and going to functions and trainings, even although we weren't doing much in the business, I got convinced that this is a good business. It's not something that if you happen to be a Christian or in ministry like myself, that you have to be ashamed of, because this is a business of uplifting people, of empowering people to live better. It starts with finances and health. But there are so many other aspects that come along with that through our training and through our positive associations that I felt more and more attracted to the business. So at one time, I got to the stage where I said, well, I'll resign from the ministry, not from the church, just from the ministry. I got a job for about 3 years in a city called East London because I still needed an income, and then slowly started building up the business. So from when we joined until when I really now got going was a number of years. And then obviously it was probably another 3 years or so before I could go full time. Now, that's probably close to 35, 36 years, I can't remember exactly, uh, that I have been my own boss. Now, it's nice in one sense, but in another sense, if you work for yourself, it's a challenge because now now you're the boss. You've got to boss yourself. You've got to force yourself to work, even if you don't feel like it. But today I still pick the fruit, if I may use the expression, from the hard work of those early days. Because much of the seed that was sown then, I'm still having the harvest of that from year to year, and it's continuing to grow. So what I enjoy, I was just thinking about it these past 2 mornings. We're having rain in Cape Town. Now in Cape Town, our rain is different from yours. It's not these tropical storms. It's a soft, long rain that stretches over days, and it's cold. And in the mornings when it's still a bit dark and it's raining, it's tough to get out of bed. And I so enjoy it that I don't have to get out of bed until I decide to get out of bed. You see, when I was employed, I had to get out of bed whether I wanted to or not. So, and a lot of other benefits. We've been able to educate our children as far as they wanted to go, which I would never have been able to do because even before they went to school, I was already broke. So can you imagine once they start going to school and it's school fees and it's this and it's that and the other, if I didn't have the money before they went to school, what would I have done by the time they went to school and then later on to university? So this business has really, really given us a new opportunity. It's given us life in so many aspects. And one of the things I want to mention to you is being able to use the products. Of course, when we started and we didn't have a lot of money, we couldn't use a lot of products. Today, we use so many products. And I'm approaching 76 later on this year, but I'm healthy. I've got energy. I'm advanced in years, but I'm still young. And I believe the products have got so much to do with that. And I want to stress that, when we say start using the products, it's not just to, for some business reason. It is for you to start experiencing the benefits of the products. And the more you can afford to use more products, the benefits in your life will be more. Better health, avoiding disease, energy. So that's another thing I'm very grateful for this business. And then I can't help seeing Justice and your other leaders. We were in Istanbul just 2 weeks ago. I love traveling. it is really something that I would never tire of doing, I think. And my wife's been to Turkey before. I've never been there. And we discovered Istanbul is such a wonderful, amazing city. It is different from what we know, but what an experience. And not long ago in October, we had a week in Barcelona, which was just also such a wonderful experience. Now, those things, when you qualify at a certain level, you don't pay for that. The company pays for that. And it's all 5-star. It's all the best you could possibly hope to have. Now, I remember so well when we were new, I looked at people who were already, traveling, achieving things, and I honestly thought, oh, it's okay for them, but oh, it won't happen for us. Fortunately, I was wrong. And I'm happy that I was wrong. And with that, I want to say to you, uh, don't just look at what is happening now in the short term. And very often you might look and see there's not much happening. This business isn't meant just to help you in the short term. I always say it's like a child who wants to, let's say, become a scientist or whatever. When they go to school for the first year, after the first year in school, they're not ready for university. They've got to go through what we call primary school and secondary school. And hopefully by then they're ready for university. And then they've got to go through university. And depending on what they want to do, they may have to go postgraduate. So you don't achieve anything worthwhile overnight. Just understand that. It's like building a house. We've got lots of people living in shacks here in South Africa. And I'm sure you do too in some of your areas. You could build a shack in a day's time. But if you wanted to build a nice big house, double story with all the trimmings, you're not going to build that in a week or a month. It might take months. It might take even years in some cases. So please understand that new life is not, it's not a get rich quick scheme. It's also not something that you play with for a while to see if it works. And then if you think it doesn't work, you quit. Because the moment you quit, you lose. You see, my sponsor and his sponsor quit not long after we got started. Because they didn't have anybody else. They just had us and we weren't doing much. So I think they thought, oh, well, this is never going to work. Some years ago, I met my sponsor at a big church meeting, at a synod, and I was happy to see him because I always wanted to have the opportunity to thank him for introducing us to the business, because he actually went out of his way to connect with me. And he was surprised. He said, "Are you still in that?" I said, "Yes." And I started telling him what has happened, how it's grown, and he couldn't believe what I said. I've calculated some time ago, I forget the figures now, especially if I have to put it across in shillings. If he just stayed in the business and became a qualified director, nothing more. When we started qualifying as director, he would have been a sapphire director. And what he's lost over the last 35 years or so, if he had been a sapphire director, nothing more, is a small fortune. So you see, they lost that and all the other benefits and the privileges the business brings because they quit too soon. I've said this a number of times, and people who know me and have heard me will have heard me saying this, but I want to repeat that. The challenge new people have very often is they expect too much too soon. They expect too much too soon. They start, and in a month or two, they want to be director and above. That's not going to happen. It's unrealistic. They expect too much too soon, but not enough in the long term. Because it's in the long term where the benefits start unfolding. You see, even if you, let's say you chose a career in banking, and now you started working as a clerk or maybe a bank teller, but your dream is to be the manager of a branch, or maybe the CEO of the bank. That's going to take you a lifetime, and you might never even reach that. You see, you've got to have the right mindset that this is a business, and any business, you've got to build, well, not necessarily slowly, but you're not going to build a big business overnight. I hope you hold on to that. And to go with that, I want to tell you that you are going to have challenges, things that make it difficult. You are going to have setbacks. You know, one of the biggest challenges, I think, for new people is they have this little name list, and it's all people around them, people that they know. And you start approaching those people, and they all think, you know, what do you know? What can you tell us about business? They might not say it. And they all say no. So your first moving out into the business very often ends up with a lot of no's and nothing to show. That's okay. You're training, you're practicing. And as you go through, more people who may say no or may reject the business or may even criticize you, you'll find that. You'll find people criticizing you and saying to you, this is a pyramid scheme, this is that, and this, it won't work, and blah, blah. Just always look at the people giving you advice. If they are not in life where you want to be, don't listen to them. If they broke and they give you advice, their advice will help you to stay broke. So look at people who've grown in the business. Look at people who've achieved. And that's why going to functions, and even like the summit in what, when is it, October in Dar es Salaam. We used to call it the convention. Try and gather the money and go, because you need that kind of motivation to see what is happening, to see the potential, to see the greatness of the business. But even on a lower level, when there are functions, if you're in Kampala or Masaka or wherever there's anything happening, make sure you go. Because when you see other people achieving, it can give you the hope that it's possible. All that is then needed is for you to have a positive attitude and say, well, if others can do it, why not me? Now, that might be a challenge for some of you, because maybe, you know, some people grow up in a negative environment. They've never been encouraged. They have a weak self-image. Now, maybe none of you is like that, but if you have this image of, oh, I'm not sure I can, I doubt it, I'm not sure it will work for me. You know, all that is needed is to change your mindset from negative, oh, I can't, I don't know, it won't work, to saying, well, if it works for others, why not me? And then simply climb in and do the work. You know, our business is so simple. You don't first have to go through a long course or a degree or a diploma. If you have an upline that truly cares about you and helps you, you can almost immediately start making money, although small. Sponsor somebody here, sponsor somebody there. And all the while, see this initial phase as your training, your growing up in the business. And you know, the wonderful thing that we have through New Life is all the support you have uh, on your website through the back office, on WhatsApp, YouTube, all these things. You know, there's nothing that you need to know that you can't somehow find through social media if your upline is not available to help you. But your challenge is to discipline yourself to go and seek the information you need to learn. Why? Because you've got to become a teacher. The people you introduce into the business are dependent on you for guidance. Now, if you haven't gone through, as we say in South Africa, through the mill, you know, you haven't gone through the tough times, you haven't faced the challenges and overcome, you're going to be a very weak leader. You need to be seen as somebody who's a strong person, who's got goals, who's going, who isn't going to stop until they achieve the goals. That would give other people the attraction to see, well, this is somebody I can follow, somebody with a vision. And our world needs good leaders. What is a good leader? And this brings me to something that I so like about the business, and that I believe is probably the one thing, or one of the biggest things I should say, that make our business such a success. And that is that this business is built on helping other people. Now, not everybody who comes into the business understands that, because we all come in with our spoiled human nature, selfish, me, 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 me. And we want to push people because we need the PV. We want to twist people's arm to join because we need to achieve whatever. While what should happen is, whenever we approach people, we should approach them with a thought that what I'm showing them is for their benefit, whether it be a product or the opportunity. And if people then say no, it's their loss. It's not your loss. They lose by finding a reason not to use our products or join the business. That's not your worry. That's not your concern. You move on from there. But then when people join your business, it is so important that you must give them all the support you can. Now, if you're very new and you know very little, remember, they know less than you. So you teach them the little you know. And you link them into trainings like this and the other trainings that you have in your teams. Now, it's your responsibility to encourage people to commit to training and to learning. But that won't happen unless you're committed to learning. And the faster you learn, the faster you will grow. And never think that you're going to reach anywhere worthwhile or the top or whatever you want to call it by never making a mistake. That's just not possible. Nobody of us is perfect. We all will make mistakes. I've made mistakes. I will make mistakes again in future. Although as you grow, you learn and you try and minimize your mistakes, obviously. But sometimes when people made a mistake, they did a presentation that went so badly. They say, oh, this will never work. No, learn from your mistakes and move on. You see, we don't only learn when things are going well. We learn also through mistakes and through difficult times. In fact, it's difficult times that strengthen us. When everything goes well, you know, it actually weakens us. You take an athlete or a sports person. If they sit back and they just take it easy because, they're doing well, and they move away from that discipline of training, the hard work, very soon they won't be at the top anymore. There's no changing that. We've got to go through the work. Now, if you're new in the business and you're very much still part-time, that's fine. Just plan your week and find certain times during the week where you will be working the business. And then you work the business. If the family comes and visits in a time when you wanted to go to a presentation or a training, say to them, sorry, I'm working. You see, if you work for a boss and the family comes visiting, you can't say to the boss, well, I'm not coming to work. My family has visited. Now you're the boss. It's your business. It is how serious you are about succeeding. And then realizing that success is not going to come overnight, but if you're not serious in the first place, it might never come. And the wonderful thing is, as you grow in the business, what was difficult eventually becomes easy. And that is part of the personal growth we get from the business. But personal growth is not something that just happens to you. It's something that you've got to work on. You've got to plan what you are going to do to help you improve. Let's just take one's body. Maybe you're not fit. You may be a bit overweight. And now your goal is to lose that weight and to become fit. Now you've got to have the discipline to go through the whatever you have to do to get there. It's not going to be easy, but once you get there, you'll feel so much better. You'll be so much better. And you know what happens when you achieve a goal? It's not just about what you've achieved. It's about what you become in the process of achieving that goal. Because every step you take up in the business is going to require some growth, some development on your side. And that's one of the other things I love about this business. People who stay in the business end up being better people, better in so many aspects than they were when they joined the business. This just happens as you go along. So what I've been trying to say to you, this is really a very, very valuable business. In my opinion, it's a gift from God that has been placed in our hands. But what we do with that gift will determine where we will end up. You see, we're not left with no responsibility in life. God has created us with a free will. We can say yes or we can say no. We can love him or we can hate him. So we've got to use that free will, that ability to choose to do the right things, to choose to work when you may not feel like working, to choose to keep on when there are challenges and life gets difficult and you're working and you're maybe not seeing all the results you want. I can promise you that nobody who's reached the higher levels in the business, nobody got there because it was easy. Nobody got there because it was easy. When you see the hairpins on the stage, you think, oh, they were lucky or they're just such wonderful people or whatever. Remember, we all started where everybody else starts, right at the bottom. Some people come in with more talents, with maybe more personal development than other people. That's not important. Never compare yourself to other people. Whom you should compare yourself to is the person you were yesterday compared to the person who you are today. Have I improved? Have I grown in my confidence? Have I grown my skills? Have I become more caring? That is what is important. Measure yourself against yourself, because there will always be people that are better than you. And if you look at them, you might feel inferior. Why I'm not like them? Why am I not that good? On the other hand, there will always be people who are not better than you, and you look down at them and say, "Oh well, I'm great. I'm so wonderful." No, God is not going to judge us compared to this one or that one. Excuse me. He's going to judge us compared to what we did with what we had, what we've been given. So this opportunity of new life is so valuable because it doesn't just help us to get healthier, to make more money. It helps us to grow personally, to become better. And that's what counts in the end. I've seen people with lots of education, far more than I have, who are actually not very nice people to be around. And I've seen people with very little education who are such nice people that you just want to be around them. So you see, all those external things is not what's going to count. It's what is going to account is the person I become, the person you become. Somebody, they say there are two kinds of people. Those that make you happy when they come, and those that make you happy when they leave. So we need to all become the kind of person where people say, "Wow, I'm so glad to have you around," and sad to see you go, and not the other way around. And in the end, that is what is going to count most in life. God is not going to judge us on our riches or our pin level. He's going to judge us on how we lived our life, how many people we helped, for whom we made the life a better place. So I think I've said enough. I could carry on because I'm very excited about the business. Somebody a while ago asked me, "Aren't you retired yet?" And I said, "No, why should I retire? This is life. I enjoy what I'm doing. Even being with you this evening and speaking to you, it gives me so much joy." And my prayer is just that I hope something of what I said might help you, give you that spark so that you will grow in the business and achieve what you could achieve. So, Justice, thank you for the opportunity, and keep up the good work. And all the teams, I've not seen the name list since I started talking, but everybody from Kenya also, Tanzania, Uganda, you're all precious. I love you. I appreciate you, and God bless.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much, Jaja Mike. I'm just reading through the comments here, and someone just said that you are a gift to us. And indeed, you
Oh,
are actually such a blessing and a gift to us.
that is so wonderful to hear. Thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
we truly appreciate your mentorship, your guidance, the time you invest in, the love that you have for us. We truly appreciate, and we really don't take it for granted. And I do believe that one day we will succeed. We'll become Ruby directors, we'll become presence team members, we'll become Diamond directors. And I know that our success is your happiness. So I truly believe that the best way how we can say thank you is by us working so hard to make you proud. So thank you so much for being there. And the other thing I really want to appreciate about you is that there is not any single time we have ever contacted you or asked for help from you and you are not available. We really want to thank you so much for that. You're always available for us, and not because you have the time, but because you truly, truly love us and you really, really want us to succeed. We truly appreciate you and thank you so much. Now, as we come to the end of our meeting, I just wanted to bring to your attention some of the upcoming events. Um, this coming weekend, we are in Western Uganda for our meetings, and I do believe we've been seeing all the communications on the groups. And then on the 24th, which is going to be a Saturday, we are going to be having a senior manager school from 10 to midday, and then we shall be having an experienced company meeting at the Imperial Real Hotel. And one of the things that can truly help in the growth of our businesses is when we truly go ahead and massively utilize these events. I also understand in Kenya, this month of May, we are hosting Charlie Bolton. I don't know the dates, but I do believe the leaders in Kenya are doing an amazing job communicating and mobilizing for the weekend function with Charlie Bolton. I wish you the very best, and I know that you're going to maximally utilize those meetings. So thank you so much for logging in, and have a blessed evening.